thank you guys for joining us today. The thing that I would love to understand is what problems are we trying to solve here? What are some of the case studies and the use cases that we're trying to build when it comes to automation? So when we think about automation, we think about email drip sequences. We can think about auto email notifications. We can think about sending someone an email that fills out a form on a Facebook lead ad. We can think about adding a tag to someone and triggering some sort of a workflow, whether it's sending an email or an SMS, or it's updating something in the CRM. Love to understand what you guys are trying to accomplish so that we can make this workshop as specific as possible. So light up the chat, please. I'd also love to understand where you guys are tuning in from. So city, state, it's always nice to know where you got what the geography is. And as promised, and as always, we're going to make this workshop as personalized as possible. So please light up the chat. Tell us what problems you're trying to solve and how you're trying to use Dubb automation to make a repeatable and scalable growth machine. In fact, that is the name of the workshop that we're going to dive into here. All right, let's start with a super interesting statistic. Automated emails are opened about 44% of the time. Now, let's just think about that number for a second. 44% of the time they are opened. That is an unusually high email open rate, okay? If you guys are doing outbound emails and sending emails to some sort of a list, a group, you probably know now that your open rate is anywhere from 2% to 30% on the high end, maybe 40% if you're lucky. An automated email gets opened 44% of the time. And I actually can explain why that's happening. So the reason why automated emails get opened more frequently is because typically an automated email happens when there is some sort of an opt-in engagement, like the person fills out a form, they went to a Facebook lead ad, they put their first name and their last name in their email, and they're sort of expecting something to come in. So when they fill out that form or when they do that certain activity and then that automated email gets sent to them, chances are there's a higher chance that they're going to open that email. So next slide. Okay, so automated emails are opened twice as often as any other type of marketing emails. Well, this one makes total sense to me because when an automated email comes, again, it's an opt-in situation and it's not like a marketing email campaign that's getting sent out. It's something that I did to trigger this. And because of that, I have more of a propensity to open this and click it and engage with it. So I think we're starting to build this theme here is that when we provide opt-in funnels, opt-in systems, the chances of folks opening and ultimately engaging with those emails gets increased. If we look at the click-through rate and the open rate when it comes, when you look at automated versus manual, it's pretty simple. Automated emails get a 152% higher click-through rate and 70.5% higher open rates than manual emails. This was done in a particular study. And I think the reason why we get that increase in the click-through rate is now because there's probably a specific call to action that's relevant for the person. My favorite example of an automated email is when we have a Facebook lead ad, when we have a form on a website somewhere, that person engages with the content, they watch a video, and then they're interested in learning more. So they fill out a form, and then they sort of expect to get something in return for that. So one of the most common things that we might see here is another piece of content, another piece of value. For example, an educational video. Our favorite example of how to manage a Facebook lead ad, which we've been talking about a lot. Actually, we have a whole webinar on that. Is to offer an educational video in exchange for the person's contact information, right? So if we think about that for a second, we think about here's a Facebook lead ad. It's a 15-second video. Someone's going to watch that video. They're going to see a form. They're going to fill out that form, and then they're going to receive an email with a longer form piece of educational content, a video, maybe a 15-minute video educating them. You know, the example that we've been using has actually been a real estate example, which is how to increase the value of your home. So if I were looking to sell my home and I wanted to increase the value of my home, I might consider filling out a lead ad form on Facebook or on someone's website in exchange for getting a 10-minute, 15-minute educational video on how I can increase the value of my home. So you can imagine, as a result of this give-get relationship, this situation here, my click-through rate is going to be significantly higher. So that the essence of what we're talking about is providing value, setting up an anticipation, an expectation to receive that value, and then as a result, earning the click-through rate, earning the engagement that you'll get on that email. And automated emails can help you do that. So here's some interesting sentences here. While it might be easier to send only one email versus this is less effective than a series of 3 emails. So let me repeat that. 3 emails is much more effective than sending 1 email. In fact, you will get, as a result of this, a 90% increase in your sales. Now, let's unpack this for a second. We require, in the sales process, in the marketing process, we require multiple touch points. We require this need to follow up. In fact, there's so many great sayings in sales, like the gold is in the follow up and never give up and persevere. All of these things are so relevant because the fact of the matter is that when people look at their emails, most of the time they ignore them. Most of the time they get too busy and they just sort of gloss over them and they forget that they even received them and they never go back. This is why any great salesperson or sales team will know that you need to follow up sometimes 3 times, sometimes 6 times, sometimes even 12 times. So how do we streamline the process of following up? Well, the answer is automated emails. If we send just 1 email, the chances of that email getting ignored are dramatically higher. So why not send a series of emails? This is what we call a email drip sequence, or sometimes we call it a smart sequence, because it creates a series of events that take place over a certain amount of time, and then it sends those to the person. So when you think about an automated email sequence, you can think about it in one of 2 realms. Number one, you can think about it as this is an inbound situation. The person filled out that form. Again, going back to that example, they filled out a form in a Facebook lead ad, they filled out a form on a website, and then as a result, they're sort of expecting to get 1 or multiple emails. And then the second situation is an outbound situation. An outbound situation means that now we're triggering an email to go out to our ideal client profile, and then we're doing an auto follow-up in, let's say, 1 to 2 days. And then we're doing another one 2 to 3 days later. So this is a highly effective way to do inbound or outbound email, okay? The same thing applies to SMS. However, with SMS, we just have to be a lot more cautious. We have to be a lot more vigilant when it comes to respecting people's privacy, because people will unsubscribe on SMS in a much easier way than they will for email. Okay. Next slide.
Yeah, and we called these too, we called them trust sequences as well, because when people get these videos in a series that they're going to get from you and they keep seeing you, you're building that relationship by just having those automations already set up. So it's really neat.
Yeah. So why is trust so important, Rob?
Well, it's because, if you're going to have a cold outbound, you're doing your marketing out there to the Arctic, you want to have ability. Okay, so I just sent someone a video of me. All right, this is the first message they're getting. If they don't take an action and fill out a form or do something, what's my nurturing going to look like? I've got to lead with value. What's the next thing I'm going to tell them in that sequence that comes up? Maybe it's a day later, maybe it's a couple days later, whenever you decide it is. But what piece of value are you going to send them? So if you have to keep sending them videos, you're sending them pieces of value. They see your face, they hear you, and you know what? Maybe eventually, like, I'm going to fill out that form because I like what this person is telling me. From a warm situation, if someone fills out a form through the Facebook lead ads, they gave you the information. But if they haven't responded, maybe they watched the video, but then they didn't take an action. It's your job to set up those automations, having their info now to say, hey, glad you watched the educational video. What did you find interesting? What's the next step? So both are nurturing, but they're a little bit different in terms of how you go about it with the messaging.
There it is. Yeah, trust is the biggest hurdle that we were trying to overcome here. So by providing more information in a sequence of emails, a trust sequence, in fact, what we can do is we can overcome that trust hurdle so that people can actually open their eyes and their ears and be more interested to actually hear from us and potentially pick up the phone or email us or call us.
Exactly right. The more they see you, the more they trust you. It's kind of the whole reason we love video so much. You know, they can see you, they can hear you, they can trust you, and then they'll listen to what you're saying. So
That's it. Yeah. So we can go ahead and bring the slides back up. So now what we wanted to do was we wanted to go ahead and actually unpack an automated sales sequence. But I just wanted to first ask, are there any brave souls in the audience? This is a very specific workshop. This is very pro, very advanced stuff. I'm not suggesting that people come to the stage and tell us that they're an expert. That's not what I'm asking for. I want problems. That's how I thrive. So is there anyone that wants to turn on their mic and ask us what they're looking to build? I would be really curious to hear about that because then I could be more specific.
Ruben, this is Lynn Miller from Florida. And I want to refer somebody to sign up with Dubb, but when I go over to the right-hand side of the screen and I click on that link, and then when I try to send it to somebody, it goes to my email or it goes with my actual Dubb account. Everything I've done with Dubb has been so extremely difficult, but you guys' customer service is so excellent. Darius could have told me to get whatever, but he's been so helpful. And I've got the videos going. I actually got a listing with the video from Dubb that helped me get this. So I know that this is a value. This is a great deal, but it's so hard because when I watch the videos aren't what's on my screen. And that's the problem that I'm having. But
well, that's really good feedback. Have you joined us in our training calls, Lynn?
Yeah, I've been on the trainings and stuff like that. I try not to talk too much because I don't want to monopolize the conversation.
Well, we need to get you an opportunity to talk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a booking link right here in the chat. I'll send these to you directly, and we're going to meet with you and we're going to take care of you because you've already seen success. That's the great thing. Well, you need some training. You need some training. We're going to get you set up. So rest assured, we'll get you set up, Lynn. So just go ahead and check on that. Click on that link when you get some time. And we'll see you in there, okay?
Okay.
All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to just kind of go through an automated workflow here.
Yeah, Ruben?
Yes, please.
Hi, this is Dwayne Owings in Kansas City. Hey, I had tried in the past to build out a workflow, and I got confused and kind of stopped it. But during my annual open enrollment period for people with Medicare, for example, we have people that are enrolling every year, and I like to be able to have an automation to do some videos and explain to them how Medicare works, and then be able to have them respond back to me via text or email or call me. So I'd like to see how that's built out. And I loaded all my contacts in here, but then I had trouble separating them out into different venues. This person is a Medicare person, this person is a life insurance person, that sort of thing.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so one of the reasons why we include automations in our Pro Plus account is because we bake in the support costs into that. Because chances are, if you're using automations, you're going to need help. I mean, let me stop screen sharing for a second here. I built automated workflows for years and years in my career. In fact, I still do, and it was my skill. It's exactly what I trained myself to do. I got so many certifications, and I basically went to school for this, and I worked at large companies and small companies, and I was really the technologist on the back end that was building this. And it's not easy. I just want to be very clear about this. Automations is not the easiest thing to build. It's not like sending an email or sending a text message. It requires a certain level of skill or experience, making some mistakes, getting in there. We tried to make it as easy as possible because our premise is simple. Our premise is if we add, just like what Rob was saying, if we add videos to our process, to our comm process, then we can overcome that trust hurdle. And if we can add scalability and automation to this, then all of a sudden we start to increase our profit margins because we have more touch points that are happening automatically, right? So it's very valuable stuff. But one of the reasons, again, why we include automations in Pro Plus is because for the slightly higher price point, you get to meet with us. We'll actually meet with you one-on-one to help you build your campaign. So this is one of the things that we will set you up to do. If you could just put the link in for the upgrade account, The purpose of this webinar is not to sell you guys on Pro Plus. If you see the value in it, then you're welcome to check it out. But at a bare minimum, please come into our trainings as much as you possibly can, and we promise to help you as much as we can. That training link is dubb.com/T, which we'll also share in there. But we have you here, and I'm going to do the best job that I can to explain to you how to build an automated workflow. Okay, so here we go. All right, so number one is if you go to the left navigation, you'll go to automation and then workflows. Okay, so in the workflows section, what you'll
I'm going to
notice.
share, Ruben. You just got to share your screen, Ruben.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I need to automate something for that. Okay, so if you go to the left navigation, you'll go to automation and then workflows. Okay, and then here you can see all of our automated workflows here. Okay, so instead of creating one from scratch, I'm just going to log into one that's already been created. Okay, so in this one, what I do is I create my workflow name, cold to sold in this case. And in this case, my trigger is the tag added. Now let's unpack these triggers for just one moment here. What is a trigger? Well, a trigger is the activity that's going to actually activate this workflow for an individual or a group of individuals. The most common one is tag added. Okay, and the reason why tag added is such a common one is because, number one, when you go into the contact section, the CRM aspect of Dubb, what you can do is you can actually add a tag to an individual's name. So I'll be able to pull that up in just a moment. If you add a tag to an individual's name, you can trigger a workflow, which is very powerful. So think about that for a second. You went to a conference, you met someone, they walked into your office, it was a referral, there was some sort of an activity that led you to believe that this person should receive a trust sequence, right? A list of email workflows, okay? All you'd have to do is go into the contact section and actually add a tag to their name, and then that will trigger that. So that's a very common one. Another one, which I'll show as well, is the ability to add a tag to your forms. So if you have a form on your website, a Dubb form, if you have a Facebook lead ad, what you can do is you can specify the tag so that it triggers the automated workflow. So for example, in forms, if I go here, if I click on this open house form, you can notice I have the ability to add a tag right here, open house form fill. Okay, so this tag is going to connect to the workflow, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just one moment. Okay, when it comes to a contact, if I go to a contact right here, I can actually edit this and I can add their tag to this as well. So I can add a tag right here. By adding a tag to this, it's going to, again, trigger that workflow. So let's unpack the workflow side now, right? So let's say in this workflow includes any of the tags lead. So now if I have lead as the tag in the form, or if I add it to the contacts manually, then of course this tag is going to trigger this workflow, okay? Now, there's a checkbox here, re-trigger tags at each step. So sometimes the reason why you need to have this either checked or unchecked, most of the time we keep it unchecked, but the reason why you want this checked is because if there's something that you do not want to repeat in the process, then you want to check this so that it constantly rechecks that person. For example, let's say that you tagged a person with lead and then you close a deal with that person. You want this automated workflow to go and actually look if you've removed that tag, if you've actually replaced that tag lead with client, let's just say. So that's the reason why you want to check it every single time, okay? Number two is build, okay? So in the builder, what you can do is you can notice here we have a sequence of events that take place, okay? So I'm going to just go ahead and zoom in here, okay? The first step you'll notice is tag added, which is lead. That's what triggers this event. The next step that we have is we want this to delay 5 minutes. Okay, so there's a lot of data that says we should get back to folks within the first 5 minutes of them reaching out. Like if they fill out a form, if they call us, if they email us, the conversion rate increases dramatically. Sometimes you don't want to be hyper immediate though. Sometimes you actually want to delay that just for a couple of minutes because they might still be consuming the content on your website. So for example, if you send them to a lead form and then they fill that form out in order to get an educational video, you might want to give them 5 minutes to watch the video on the landing page. You might not want to actually send the email immediately because you might actually distract them. So depending on the situation, you want to determine if you're going to delay this, okay? And then the next step is to send an email, right? So in this case, what you'll notice here is the action is to send an email, and then the item that we're sending is actually a campaign, right? So now what I want to do is I want to explain what a campaign is in this sense, okay? A campaign in this sense is an email template that we created that will get sent to the particular contact that's specified in this workflow, okay? So to create a campaign, what you want to do is you want to go into assets on the left. Sorry, you want to go to automation, and then you want to go to emails, okay? In this section of the website, what you can do is you can build your template, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on automation, click on emails, and then these are my automated email campaigns, right? So what I can do now is I can build this email template. Let's just take a look at this very quickly. This is the email template that I'm going to send. It's very simple. It's simple white text. We actually want this email to look like it's coming from a human being. We don't want it to look like a marketing email, okay? Here's another one. Very, very simple, you know, and so on and so forth. So as I've created my email campaigns, I can add videos to those. I can have them be simple emails. To do that, all you have to do is click the plus button, create that email. I can then connect them to the automation, okay? So again, if I were to go into here and add a plus button, I would select action, send email SMS. I would specify the campaign that I had created here, and then it would add a step in between. So if you notice here, it added that step, right? So by clicking this plus button, you can add a step. Now, in this case, I want to delete it because we don't want to have two emails go out at the same time, right? So now we have our second step, which is to send an email or an SMS. If you want to configure SMS, you have to configure, you have to go into the configuration setting. We'll actually send the link for that. There's a tutorial article as well. Whatever you're sending, whether it's email or SMS, you are going to need to configure an email sender. Okay, so that's something that I'll talk about in just a moment. You can use Gmail, you can use Outlook, you can use Amazon, you can use Twilio. There's a lot of different services that we work with, and that's what's gonna allow you to do the sending on the back end. Okay. The next step here is another delay, right? In this trust sequence, we want to add a little bit of time, a little bit of space. You know, one of the ways that I love to figure out how to create an email workflow here is to determine what is my sales cycle. How long does it typically take for me to turn a lead or a prospect into a sales qualified lead? Is that a 2-week process? Is it a 2-month process? Whatever that time period is, I sort of build the email workflow to fill in that time period. That way, me or my company is top of mind, right? My competitors don't have necessarily a chance to distract them, to take them away from me. They're constantly learning about me, about what I offer, about my services, ultimately, truly how I can help them. So think about your sales cycle and then build your automated workflow to fill up that time period, because frankly, it's going to be your best assistant. It's going to be your best friend. It's going to be nurturing these folks while they're going through your sales process. Now, sometimes what happens is you increase your sales cycle, right? I should say you decrease your sales cycle. You increase the speed of close, right? And that's a great thing. And the reason why you might see that happen is because people are watching your videos, they're reading your emails, they're clicking on the links that you provide, and they're building that parasocial relationship. They're building that parasocial relationship so that they can learn about you. And that's very valuable, okay? All right, so the next step here is we've got another delay. We've got a send email, a delay. You can see that this just continues on. This is a true email drip sequence. There's delays and there's sendings. So to repeat, what you have to do in order to set one of these up is number one, you have to have Pro Plus. Number two, you have to go to automations on the left nav. Number three is you have to click the plus button here, title your workflow, and then concurrently make sure you have your email campaigns set. And these are your, I should say your templates, okay? So when you go into automation on the left nav and you click email, this is where you build your templates. Now, every single template that gets built here can get associated with an email workflow, okay? And then of course you specify that in the build, right? The next step to this process is to launch it, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. All right, I'm just going to take a little break here. Is there any questions, any confusions? I'm very, very open to receive feedback here. Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Okay, so Sergio, I hope I answered your question. Why would you not want to recheck trigger at each step? The reason why you would not want to is because let's say that your job is to only market to these folks. Your job is actually not to remove them from an email workflow. Let's say that there's never going to be a reason that you remove them. If there's never going to be a reason, then there's no point in re-triggering that or rechecking that. You might as well have it continue to go on and on and on, okay? Yes, I can. I will show an example. Okay, so when I go to my emails within my automation, I can actually click on this eyeball icon right here, and then this is going to show you what a template looks like with a video. This is an animated GIF at the top. Okay, so this is an example of an email with an animated GIF at the top. Now, of course, you know that if someone clicks on this, it goes to the dedicated Dubb landing page with the video. Okay, so the reason why adding a video obviously is very important here is because it adds a visual element. It adds the ability for someone to click on this and to get sort of a sneak peek in what it is that you're trying to say. It also allows us to be visual and to share a webcam video or a phone video or a desktop video. You know, I hope that the folks in this workshop have installed the Dubb desktop app, have installed the Dubb mobile app, have installed the Dubb Chrome extension and the Dubb website. You guys are using all the abilities to create videos on this. So whatever it is that you want to show, you can, and you can include it into these email templates. Okay. So hopefully that answers the questions here. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to actually launch an automated workflow here. So let's take a look. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go to the left navigation, again, automation workflows. I want to click on the pencil icon here, and then I want to click the launch button, okay? So now let's take a look at a couple of these buttons. Number one, only trigger contacts once. So why does this switch exist? Let's say that someone fills out a form on a Facebook lead ad. Sometimes, every time they fill out that form, you want to send them a new email campaign, let's just say. Sometimes, on the other hand, you do not. Let's say that this is a situation where they only should get this one time, right? If that's the case, then turn this on. If it's okay that they receive the same email over and over and over again, then switch this off. It's really up to you. There's situations where it might be embarrassing if you just continue to send the same email if they do a certain action. In other cases, you want it to happen every single time. Let's say that it's for let's say it's for an educational video. Let's say that you have an offer with a form where if the person fills out that form in order to get an educational video, that they receive that automated email with a link to that final educational video. I think it's okay for that person to continue to receive that automated email, okay? Now, on the other hand, let's say that it's a specific thing where it's a first-time outreach and it's a trigger that might be getting emailed saying, welcome to our website, welcome to our business, great to have you here. If the person already received that, you probably do not want to send them another welcome email. So this is a case-by-case situation. You have to start to think like a demand generation expert. You have to think like a workflow expert. What should they receive or what should they not receive? You know, this takes a lot of experience. It takes some skill. We're here to support. You know, we have coaches as well. If you guys are are looking to hire a coach, we have one of the coaches that I always recommend is Russ Johns. RussJohns.com is his website. If you guys want that link, we'll actually include it in the chat. So once again, RussJohns.com. He's an expert at this. He's built, hundreds, if not thousands, of these workflows, and he can sort of think about the intricacies that go into a workflow. Okay, so if you're more of a do-it-yourselfer, great to have you. If you're willing to put the time in and get over the learning curve, we're here to support you. Once again, those trainings, you can meet us there. You can hire a coach. You can meet with us even one-on-one if you have a Pro Plus account. So consider that. Okay, so then the other switch you'll notice here is the workflow. You can turn it on or turn it off. So sometimes you'll notice, let's say that a campaign stops. Let's say that you don't want to do a certain email, have a certain email go out anymore. Turn that workflow off. No point in turning on. And then of course you have to agree to the no spam policy. Okay, so that's basically, I'm gonna just go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. I'd like to open it up for questions. Was that confusing? Was that clarifying? Give me some honest feedback here. And once again, this is automated workflows are not easy. It requires skill and patience and experience. So any specific questions? Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Hey, Ruben, thanks a lot for the info here. This is Sergio. I wanted to ask about the deal stages. Is there a way to set up a workflow so that if a user does a certain action, it triggers moving them on in the deal stages inside the CRM?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so this is where the triggers get built. I'm going to go ahead and click the plus button here, and then I'm going to click action. And then this is the list that we have, right? So in this case, what you can do is you can create a deal for this person, but you can't change the deal stage. But if that's something, no, sorry, I misspoke. If you want to update the deal stage, you have to click update stage. Okay. And what this is going to do is this is going to update the stage of the contact. Now, I just actually want to ask a clarifying question here. If we go into deals, and if we have, let's say that we have a deal right here, are you referring to this stage right here? Or this is the deal stage in the deals section, or are you referring to the section within the contacts? That's the first thing I want to ask, actually.
No, the first part is what I was referring to. So in where it's like I think it said qualified lead, then, I don't know if it's got like hot lead or whatever it is, and then finally closed for the deal. Is there a way, for example, that by somebody booking a personal call with us by way of showing them emails and Dubb, for example, that it also moves them along the deal stage so that we know, oh yeah, this is a hot lead, for example, or when we're ready. I suppose the closed one can be a manual process on our system, but any automatic triggers by seeing for example, like a cart, like they actually arrive to the sales page and they see the checkout form, that it would trigger a movement in the deal stage.
Okay, so we don't have the ability to do that. We've received this request in the past. There's a little bit of hesitation that we have to do this. I'm willing to work on this. I'm willing to update the system to add this. So let me explain when that would take place. Like what should automatically trigger this person to get moved in the deal stage? Is it because, like, what is an automation that would do that? Is it because they filled out a form? Is it because they clicked on something? Like what would justify that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And just to give you one example in the way that we would use it is if we show them, for example, a recorded video that we have on Dubb, and through that they sign up to a Calendly call, right? And or one-on-one call with us. That way we know this is a hot lead and somebody that we're gonna effectively engage. So at that point, it would be helpful for us as a team to move the contact when the deal is open and active, move them on another column in the stage. Does that make sense?
I that makes sense to me. So could this get triggered based on a call log? Like what's the actual trigger? Maybe did I miss that? I'm trying
I would use the trigger. I mean, if it's possible to use the trigger that they have booked a call, they have booked a one-on-one conversation with a rep.
Okay, so would then you just add a tag to the contact, or how would you actually let the system know that you've done that?
I guess that's my question.
Actually, yeah,
so
if I may answer, we have a if then branch in the automated workflow where you can, if this contact clicked a call to action, then you pick the call to action to book a time with you guys, and then that can actually create another, you can branch out another activity, which is to create or update the deals. I think that is also possible with the call to action part of the sequence.
That's a really good point. Can you share your screen, Ina? And
yeah, is there a way? Can you show an example of that? That sounds really.
I think that's a really intelligent way to do it. Yeah.
Let me share my screen here. So let's go to the workflows. Let me go to this workflow here. So for example, a contact has opened my email, then I can add a branch in here. So the condition can be a CTA click. So let's say the CTA is this one, book a time with Ina. So when they just click that and I click submit here, then another branch will be open. So I can add another action. Then I can update the stage of that specific contact. Then from here, yeah, it can be moved to the next one.
Very cool. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ina, can you also show how to update the deal stages as well within the deals? Like, one of the things that I've learned is that everyone has sort of a different way to kind of qualify what deal stages are. You know, some people say, oh, it's a lead, and then it's a prospect, and then it's a MQL marketing qualified lead, and then an SQL, and then a client, and then a closed won, closed lost, or something like this. I think it would be really good to sort of explain how we can actually customize this. I think if you go to the team settings CRM, I think we can show that.
Yeah, you can customize the label of these deals. We called it
deal stages, right?
Yeah. So you can go here in the CRM section of the team, then go to custom property. Oh, this is the custom property. So no, this is should go here in the live stages. So for example,
and then make sure to click on that deal on the top left. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Right there. That's actually how you specify the deal stages.
So yeah, you may have different deal stages depending on your company or your business. You may call it whatever you prefer. So this is where you customize the stage name, and you can even add add more stages by clicking this one. And one. So yeah, that's it.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's really good. I mean, one of the things that I would love to see in this situation is a really intelligent way to update the deal stage. Is it, for example, adding a tag to the contact? That's one way to do it. Or that would be, how about we decipher this into two different ways of doing this. Number one is a manual way of doing it, which means you or someone on your team has to do something within the CRM to justify that action. The second situation was where it happens automatically. Like they click on a button, they view a video, something happens where now all of a sudden they're a viable deal, right? So I think that's going to have to be a personal choice for you if you want to kind of sort of explore that and figure out what makes most sense for you. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions here? Okay, so one of the things that I think that we should talk about now, yeah, I think that's great. Okay, so one of the things that I always love to get feedback on is what is the interest level in using Facebook to generate leads? Please put one in the comments if you're interested in using Facebook lead ads to generate more qualified leads for your business. I'm just curious to know what the interest is on that. And the reason why I ask is, of course, because automations, Dubb automations plus Facebook lead ads are very, very powerful. So what we'll do is, if you could share that YouTube video link, that's a very specific training on this if you guys are interested in that.
I wonder what everyone's workflows are right now. They're kind of what they're doing. Is everyone kind of doing the one-to-one, sending bulk stuff through Dubb, or are they using their own CRMs? Anybody want to share kind of, what they're doing? Anything creatively, anything fun with Dubb in terms of your outreach, mobile app, desktop? Any stories you want to share? We always love those.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I'm going to jump to something else here. I'm going to actually I want to make sure that when we think about automation, we think about a multi-step sequence, right? We think about an email sequence or an SMS sequence. That's the most common case of a marketing or sales automation. But one of the most simple ways to automate your marketing is just to simply send an email campaign, right? To have a video email that gets sent out to, one or multiple people on an email list, right? So let me just go ahead and show how to do that. Now, the reason why I think it's so valuable is because one of the things that we always evangelize is the idea of being video first. If you know that you have an engagement, if you know that you have something that you need to take place, for example, you have an update in your business, or you have a new offer that you would like to present to folks, or if you have a new product that you always have to say, well, I've got something to communicate with one or multiple people. How can I go ahead and do that, right? So the first step that we always say is reverse engineer that from a video, right? So when we say record a video, we mean a video message. We mean grab the Dubb mobile app, the Dubb desktop app, the Dubb Chrome extension, the Dubb website, and then record a video either of yourself or your screen or both, right? So the thing that we have to start thinking about now before that video, though, is what are we going to say? And the thing that we always talk about here is really two things. Number one is how can we use our own intelligence and also artificial intelligence to figure out what the topic is and eventually the script. And then how can we use the teleprompter in order to streamline the process of recording that video? So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and go to the Dubb dashboard here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then any bold souls want to recommend a campaign that they're trying to communicate with their prospects, anything specific to you guys? Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and do something that I come up with. If you want to put it in the chat or unmute, that's cool with me. Otherwise, I'll just do this. All right, so what I'd like to do is write an email on Okay, I think that that's okay. I mean, it's just my starting point. I'm going to be empathetic. I'm going to be informative and optimistic. I like that tone. I think 50 words, that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Kind of short.
Gotta get right to the point when you're first doing your outreach.
Yeah, why not, right? Dear sales leaders, I hope this email finds you well. We would like to offer you a demo for our video sales software platform that you can increase your revenue by 30 to 300%. Our platform is designed to so on and so forth. So you can see this is my starting point. Now, is this perfect? Absolutely not. Is this something that I would use? Probably not. However, what I can do is I can go ahead and I can change this. I can make my edits. And now once I've done that, I can import it into my scripts. So now I'm going to add to scripts. Okay. Once I add it to my script, I'm going to save this. Now the beauty of this is that if I go to record this video with my webcam, all I have to do is click on the button at the top and I can actually access the teleprompter. The great thing is that I can also use, this is not going to work since I'm in Zoom, but I can also, so I'm not going to record this, but I can also, here it is right here. And then there's my script. So as you can see, I don't need to memorize this script. I can just simply read from it. Now, of course, get some experience when it comes to reading from this teleprompter. It's not something that it's going to happen overnight. You need to practice this. But the great thing about this is that you can do this from the Dubb mobile app, the Dubb Chrome extension, the Dubb desktop app, or the Dubb website. So it makes it really easy. And if you don't want to be on video, that's okay too. That's not a problem. What you can do is you can actually use the Dubb Chrome extension to record your screen. So let's say that you create a couple of slides in Canva or PowerPoint, Google Slides, a simple Word doc, or maybe an article that you found on the internet. Record your screen and actually show that. You know, one of the things that we recommend is you can turn your webcam on or you can turn it off. So this button right here is actually going to allow you to turn your webcam off right here. So if I turn it on, I get this little circle bubble over here. But if I turn it off, then it turns off. So there's no requirement when we say video, it doesn't have to be a selfie video. That's absolutely optional, okay? And if you really want to avoid having to even record a video, one of the things that we recommend is to use this technology right here, which is called Vera, and this will actually convert your video into a voice video, we call them, right? So what this looks like is this.
Dear sales leaders, I hope this email finds you well.
So it gives a little bit of visual, something visual to look at. You can actually upload a custom graphic here and kind of give this your own branding here. You can make it transparent. So there's a lot of different ways you can create videos. So now that we've created the video, now what we want to do is we want to go into the left navigation. We want to go into campaigns, and then we want to click on email, okay? Once we've created this email, then we can actually get started here. So we can title this, select our sender, select our subject line, select the video that we just recorded, then move on into our body, right? Here, I'll go ahead and find one that we've already sent. And then the next thing that you can do once you specify the body is you can specify the recipients. So you can paste the emails here, or you can actually have an inclusion list. So this is kind of a full circle here. If you notice, this tag right here is a tag that exists within our CRM system, okay? So now let's go back to the beginning of this conversation when we were talking about someone filling out a form, filling out a Facebook lead ad, manually entering a tag here. By adding tags to the contacts, you give yourself the ability to ultimately send an email campaign out to them. So let's say that we want this video email to go to everyone that's a lead. We would simply select the lead tag, right? Or let's say that it's our Facebook ads list. That's another option. Let's say it's our folks from HubSpot or our social media leads, our Wednesday hum sequence, whatever it might be, you can specify a tag to be your inclusion. So I hope that makes sense. We've got a bunch of folks, they're coming to our business, they're filling out forms, they're filling out Facebook lead ads. We're manually entering their tags in the contact. And then by building that tag up with individuals in it, ultimately we can send this video email newsletter out. So now let's just say every week or every month, we can actually go and send an email out to all the folks in our system and engage them, nurture them, educate them, provide more value so that they eventually raise their hand and work with us. You can also do exclusions. So you can have tags for existing clients or unsubscribes or not a good fit. And you can exclude those people from the list, because what's the point of emailing people that are not really in alignment with you? So you can deselect those, okay? And then the final step is, of course, the sending. So you can send it now, immediately, or if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you want to send it at a decent hour, then just simply schedule it. Click the schedule button, select the date, select the time, make sure that you have your correct time zone in, otherwise it's not going to make sense. And then of course, agree to the no spam policy. So that was my run through on how to do an email campaign. Create your video, create your script, use AI, use the teleprompter, record it. If you don't want to record yourself, you can record your screen. You can use the AI tool Vera to go from text to video. Build your email campaign, specify the subject line, the body, the sender, add the video, specify the inclusion and the exclusion list, and then schedule it to be sent now or at a specific time.
Nice job, Ruben. Very surgical.
I've done that many times.
Yeah, that was
and
great.
I enjoy doing it every time.
The flow that you have through that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. In fact, we don't just what is that hair commercial where he says, "I'm not just the president of the company, but I'm also a client." What is that company, Rob?
Oh, that's the what's it called? The
Hair Club for Men.
Club for Men. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's my and obviously Rob and I don't need that at the moment, but
Don't jinx us.
but in all seriousness, we use Dubb to send our video email newsletters out constantly. We sent one yesterday. We sent one probably once a week. And we're very meticulous when it comes to organizing our tags. So we have our lead tags, our prospect tags, our marketing qualified lead tags, our sales qualified leads, our existing clients, our unsubscribes. If anyone unsubscribes, you better believe we're going to add. In fact, the tag gets automatically added for them for an unsubscribe. But every time we want to send an email campaign out, all we have to do is create the video, write the script, record it, and then specify the inclusion and the exclusion list, and then send that email off. And it's very repeatable. So I encourage you guys to get into the flow of creating a video email newsletter once a month, or creating an email drip sequence so that you can engage with folks as they engage with you. The reason why this is so valuable, it comes down to my two favorite words, scalability and repeatability. The value of video is that you're cloning yourself. You're building your sales team, right? We always talk about this idea of scale versus growth. Scale means you're increasing your outputs without increasing your inputs, whereas growth means you're increasing your inputs out and your outputs. What that means is scale is cheaper. Scale doesn't require you to hire more sales reps. It doesn't require you to spend more money on advertisements. It simply asks that you build smarter marketing and sales sequences. And one of those things is definitely automation. So this is sort of like you're asking yourself, I need to hire more sales reps. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just need automation.
Well, it's like if someone, at 3 a.m. fills out a form, boom, they get a video right away. They happen to be up. You're not up, but the video's up. So.
Right. And speaking of 3 a.m, we have a technology that allows you to delay the send until a working hour, like 6 a.m., for example. Let's say that you don't want to send that email at 3 a.m. There's a way to add logic to that. So as you get into the automation, you'll notice a lot of different ways to build that. In fact, sometimes I even forget about all the functionality. I have to go and get refreshers. So, Ina, huge shout out to you. You're so good at that. Okay, so I see some comments here. This is a comment from John Walters. I send one-to-one videos in Gmail, but I use my Active Campaign or Keep CRMs if I want to create an evergreen campaign like nurture sequence. Okay, got it. So yeah, you can use Keep, you can use Active Campaign, or you can use Dubb. Right now, I think you're using 3 systems. I'm curious to see if you can consolidate that. Can Dubb be your single platform? I'm very curious to learn about that. What is it that other systems have that we don't, that we can build for you? We're all about that. We're all about customer listening. So John, please email us. In fact, my email is ruben@dubb.com, or you can email support@dubb.com with support questions. And we'd be very curious. I spent years using Active Campaign, and I'm very familiar with Keep, formerly known, of course, as Infusionsoft. People used to call it Confusionsoft, which I thought was kind of mean. That's
terrible.
Probably the #1 reason why they changed their name to Keep, Keap. So, JT Martell, real estate buyer inquiry. Okay, so I've just got a moment here, and I'm going to tell you everything I know about how to streamline the real estate buyer inquiry process. Okay, so you've got a potential buyer that is ready to buy, they've been qualified, and they're looking to align themselves with a real estate agent that can help them purchase their first home or a home. Now, the best way that I would conceive of creating this campaign is either doing an outbound email effort saying with a video that says, here's what you want to look for in a real estate agent. Here's the most valuable traits of that agent that's going to allow you to get yourself into the home of your dreams. Another offer that I might present is how to get qualified, how to make yourself the best possible buyer. Is it increasing your FICO score? Is it getting your loan approved? Is it figuring out where you want to live and what certain vicinity? Educating people on those things is very valuable. So if you had an offer like that in a Facebook lead ad or in an email, and then there was a button where someone could fill it out and then fill out a form to receive an educational video, that could actually create and trigger an automated drip sequence where they get multiple emails to learn about you while they're going through the process. Now, people that get to that scalability and repeatability phase, what they actually notice is they actually don't reach out to folks. They wait until those folks reach out to them, which is the definition of inbound marketing. And that's a dream, but we can all attain that dream. And the reason why they do that, of course, is because there's so many leads in their system that it's just simply not a priority to be outward when it comes to following up with someone that just simply filled out a form. They let those people bake. They let those people get self-educated and nurtured. And then when the time is right, after they hit a certain number of touch points, they either receive the call or the email from that person, or it's now qualified to have someone in sales actually reach out to them. So we can unpack that in a future meeting. Dubb.com/T is our training. We have a real estate training tomorrow at 11 a.m. Dubb.com/RET. That's a weekly real estate training for real estate agents. We'd love to get in there and get our hands or get our sleeves rolled up, get our hands and feet dirty. So come on in if you'd like to. Any other final questions before we close this out? All right. Well, I wanted to thank you guys for joining us in this workshop here, and we can't wait to see you guys at the next one. Remember, come and meet us at the trainings. Darius, the co-founder of this company, is in there almost every single day, and we call him the Oracle for a reason. Huge shout out to Ina. Huge shout out to Rob. Appreciate you guys, and thank you to everyone in the room. Thank you guys.